Picture this. You flip on the TV, and there's Donald Trump dancing on stage like it's Saturday night at Mar-a-Lago. The crowd's cheering, he's shaking his hips, and for a second you forget this is a former president of the United States, not your uncle at a wedding after too many tequilas. But then, Channel 4 drops a bombshell. They claim they've cracked the code. The reason Trump is so unpredictable, so controversial, so downright out there might not be chaos at all. It might be strategy. And today we're breaking down 10 insane facts from the Channel 4 documentary The Donald Trump Show that might just explain the man, the myth, the meme factory, Donald J. Trump. Fact Hasson. Trump doesn't just play politics, he plays television. While most politicians obsess over policy papers and committee votes, Trump figured out early that politics is basically a reality show with better suits. According to the documentary, his biggest strength is understanding that TV, not town halls, is where the real game is played. He doesn't need to win the room. He needs to win the camera. And let's be honest, love him or hate him, the man knows how to dominate a frame. But if Trump's greatest weapon is the spotlight, wait until you hear the theory that explains why he acts like a wild card in the first place. Fact #2. Enter the Madman Theory. Channel 4 points to an old Cold War strategy first used by Richard Nixon and his advisor Henry Kissinger. The idea, if your enemies think you're unpredictable, maybe even irrational, they'll hesitate to push you. Imagine playing poker with someone who occasionally flips the table. Suddenly, every bluff looks real. Trump embodies this playbook because the only predictable thing about him is his unpredictability. And speaking of unpredictable, Trump's foreign policy decisions were so bizarre at times, even his allies weren't sure what planet he was on. Fact #3. He once suggested acquiring Gaza and Canada. Yes, you heard that right. As if shopping malls weren't enough, Trump reportedly wanted to add entire regions to America's cart. Gaza and Canada. Imagine Walmart's rollback stickers slapped on entire countries. It sounds absurd, but it's also exactly the kind of headline Trump knows will dominate the news cycle. But if you thought land shopping was strange, the documentary reminds us of one of his most infamous phone calls. Fact #4. The Zelensky Moment. Channel 4 revisits Trump's intense conversation with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, a call that spiraled into impeachment territory. For Trump, though, it was classic madman maneuvering. Blur the line between negotiation, intimidation, and improv, like a magician who doesn't know his own trick until he pulls the rabbit out. And that call wasn't the only time Trump turned diplomacy into late-night television content. Fact #5. Trump weaponized his unpredictability. The documentary highlights how Trump constantly changed his mind, sometimes in the same speech. He'd say one thing, contradict it 5 minutes later, then deny he ever contradicted himself. To his critics, it looked incompetent. To his supporters, it looked like he was keeping everyone guessing. Either way, it worked because everyone was still talking about him. But the Madman Theory doesn't stop with policy. It even shows up in his rallies. Fact #6. The Dancing President. Footage shows Trump literally shaking his backside to YMCA like he's auditioning for Dancing with the Stars. Channel 4 frames it not as a goof, but as theater. Every move, every dance step is part of a larger performance. He's not just giving a speech, he's giving a show. And guess what? Shows get ratings, but sometimes the show blurred into something darker. Fact #7. Trump blurred fact and fiction. Channel 4 shows clips where Trump would make outrageous claims, like missiles being launched off rooftops. On one hand, hilarious. On the other, terrifying. Was he serious? Was it a joke? Was he testing reactions? The point is, you never knew, and that's exactly what the Madman Theory thrives on. And here's the kicker. He wasn't the first president to pull this card. Fact #8. Nixon did it first. The documentary cuts back to Richard Nixon, who famously tried to convince adversaries that he was unpredictable enough to push the nuclear button. Nixon used this strategy to make threats seem credible. Trump? He took it and cranked the volume to 11. Think of Nixon as the black and white pilot episode. Trump was the Technicolor reboot with pyrotechnics. But while Nixon hid the act, Trump did the opposite. Fact #9. Trump made unpredictability his brand. He didn't just act chaotic behind closed doors, he did it in front of millions. Contradictions, impulsive tweets, wild nicknames for rivals, these weren't accidents. They were marketing. Every headline, even the negative ones, fed his brand of being larger than life, impossible to ignore, and always the center of the story. And that brings us to the final, most important point. Fact #0. The biggest secret isn't that Trump's unpredictable, it's that he's consistent about being unpredictable. Channel 4's conclusion is that Trump's chaos might not be chaos at all. It's a strategy, a persona, a deliberate mask. Because when your enemies, allies, and even your own staff don't know what you'll do next, you control the board. Whether it's genius or madness, that's still up for debate. So, was Trump truly a madman, or was he playing 4D chess on live TV? That's the question Channel 4 leaves us with. And here's mine for you. Do you think Trump's unpredictability is a calculated strategy, or just who he is? Drop your theories in the comments, I'll be reading them, probably while shaking my hips to YMCA. If you love this deep dive into the wild world of political theater, hit that like button, subscribe for more sharp storytelling, and share this with your one friend who insists politics is boring. Because trust me, if politics had a Netflix category, Trump would be filed under comedy divided by thriller divided by what did I just watch.